Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the This Is Called Healing podcast, the safe space where we glow up together, we heal together, and we essentially figure it all out. So I want to do a little quick and impromptu episode that wasn't really according to plan, but I am feeling really called to just talk about change and going through life in general. And I don't know if maybe this is because I am in my late 20s, because I'm starting to think more about my life. Maybe it's because I went back to school at 25, or that I broke something off like almost 6 months ago, and now I'm starting to feel ready to date again. I'm starting to think about my career path. My Saturn return is obviously going on. If you don't know what that is, it's essentially, if you're into astrology, that is the time in your life where you kind of call it the growing up phase. And I just really feel like I have had some different kinds of epiphanies and also just little moments of half breaking down and also not really knowing exactly what to do and feeling extremely overwhelmed. I started this podcast last year, and then I started finally also posting to my YouTube channel like a week ago. And I feel like me talking more and more about the things I'm doing in life and the things that I want to do, but not actually being like at my goal stage yet, or like fully even knowing necessarily what that is. But at the same time, change is always happening and life is still continuously happening, no matter if you like it or not. Like, you can't just, I think sometimes we feel like we almost want to just press pause on life while we figure it out. And it's like, could I just not age? Could I just not be held responsible? And can I just like breathe and figure things out right now? And I think that is a possibility to do, but life is just still happening whether you like it or not, right? A couple of things that happened that made me really think about this was a little thing yesterday where I saw someone I used to date, or actually it was just online. It was someone I dated briefly, and I noticed that he was dating someone else. And it was so weird because the truth is I ended it because I didn't feel like we were compatible, and I wasn't really bothered by it because it just felt like the right thing to do. But it's so funny when you see them move on, you're always a little bit like, And also he was a good guy and he treated me really well and stuff. But you just see stuff like that. And then right after, I see one of my like childhood friends who just gave birth to her first daughter, and I'm like, yep. And I'm still just figuring things out. And as spiritual as I am, and as pretty secure in the fact that I don't want, nor have I ever wanted, a quote unquote normal life, it does start to feel like it catches up with you a little bit when you're like, am I really doing the right thing here? And what even am I doing? And the truth is, ever since I was a child myself, I've always said, I don't think I want kids. And I just don't think it's for me. And I'm still pretty sure of that. And at the same time, I was in a situationship, that dreaded situationship that nobody wants to be in, for about a year, that I ended back in October. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it has taken me a long time because I guess it triggered me and it put me through so much that I felt like I had to heal from. And I absolutely know that I did the right thing when I said I have to press pause on everything that's called dating life for the time being, because I am just not sure of what I'm doing for myself in life right now. And the truth is, I am just not feeling like the person I want to be. And in a way, I feel like I had regressed because this situationship had put me through, and I would absolutely call it a trauma bond, where two people meet and maybe we were supposed to meet and then really just fuck it up. I don't know. But it definitely put me through something that obviously I've had to face and I've had to deal with, and I'm not able to run away from, and I can't like date my way out of. I can't just be like, well, when I meet the next guy, well, at some point it's probably going to happen again then. And I'm sure it will all be for the better, but I just don't feel the same anymore. I don't feel like I'm the same person. And part of the reason why I even wanted to start this podcast originally This Is Called Healing, I literally had to take a break because I was getting so emotional. But what I wanted to say was the reason why I even started the podcast was because it just kind of hit me one day. And that was when I went through like no contact with this guy for the first time. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, this is the name of your podcast because this is everything you always love to read and learn about, and like all you love to do is like figure out, how am I gonna heal? But then I also, I just knew that it was something important and special, because when something comes to me and then I can just like what I would call channel ideas for like pages and pages without even thinking about it, that feels like such an inspired idea that I think that's when you know you have to do something about it, and that's something that is meant to come through you. And of course, then all these human experiences and imposter syndrome and all of these bullshit things start to come in as well. But while I was doing that, I was really also thinking about like, this is called healing because I want to stop staying stuck in self-awareness and doing inner work that doesn't show up in my external life. Because I think it's really important for you to start thinking about sometimes, where in my life am I using certain tools to maybe even isolate or to stay where I am because that feels more safe. And on the other side of that, I think the fact that I am finally doing a lot more of the things that I feel like are the right things to be doing, the right actions, like even doing this and doing my podcast and doing things I felt called to do for so long, is absolutely the right thing and the only way to live now for me. But I think sometimes when we finally start to up-level, or we finally start to make the right decisions for the path that we're supposed to be on in life, that's also when the universe tests you with all of these challenges and setbacks and tests to show you what that looks like. But also, I think in a way for you to then have to make a decision of, okay, now this test comes up, do I go A or B? And maybe A would be making a new decision that's more in alignment with the life I actually want, but it seems challenging and it seems like there's a lot of resistance there because it's a path that I haven't taken before, or it's choices that I normally don't make. And then path B would be self-sabotage. It would be going back to the toxic ex or the situationship, or it would be doing a little bit, only being half in, instead of just saying fuck it and going all in and seeing what happens and letting that path unfold. And I think I am in such a fuck it moment right now, where I just have to see what happens. But the truth is, emotional, like I have just had the worst flu I've ever had. I just got over an injury that has been a big part of my life that came back like almost a year ago, and then it came back a little bit harder back in like October-ish. And it's something that I just finally started to fully get over a couple of weeks ago. And I think sometimes in the present moment, I look back and I go, wow, I'm so disappointed in myself in all the time I wasted or all the things I didn't do, which is a very, very true thing for me, because I think I regret more of the things that I haven't done so far in my life than the things that I have done. But at the same time, I think I forget sometimes how resilient I've been and all the things that I have done, all the things that I've been through and all the things I've gotten through and gotten over. Like whether it's a bad relationship or it's a friendship breakup or betrayal, or it's losing 60 pounds and maintaining that weight loss, showing up as a completely new person who has these new habits that supports the life that she wants. And that version of me was just wanting me to go backwards and to say, yeah, but really, what does it matter? Yeah, you lose weight. Who's happy just because they're skinny? Or blah, blah, blah. And I would constantly like teeter-totter between those two things. And then I would hear something, or like my parents would say something, and I just remember being like, I will show you, I will be so skinny. Or my older sister would like have some sort of weird competition with me, and I'd be like, one day I'll be skinnier than you. And what I will say is, the truth is, it was absolutely the right thing to do because it was such a big thing for me. Is it all that matters? Of course not, because it comes with a completely new identity and a new lifestyle and new challenges and new things that you have to face. And And it comes with still having to make all of these decisions every single day to support the life that you want to live and the person that you want to be. And that also means that some days the old me, still comes up and she still copes with in ways that I feel like aren't necessarily me anymore, but it still comes through. And I then have to be the one to step in and be like, that's not who we are anymore. But all of that to say, I think it's really important to recognize all the things that we've already been through and all of the times in life where we were probably just doing the absolute freaking best that we could. So it's kind of a twofold thing where you have to take such radical ownership and responsibility and be able to say, no matter what, I'm not gonna give up on having a better and happier life for myself. And then saying, and that means that it's gonna come with all of these little hiccups and all of these challenges while I'm creating a new life for myself and essentially a new identity. But leveling up in life and becoming the person that you want to be, like I said, means that you have to face everything. And for me, one thing that I've done forever has been what I would call veiling my life. So I'm kind of like half in, I never fully give up. But then it's almost like my self-sabotage is by way of creating a sense of, well, I don't know how for myself. And it's like, yeah, maybe you don't know how, but you could lift the veil and say, I'm going to figure out a way to do this. Like whether it's recording, whether it's writing, because I love writing, or whether it's even finding ways to make money in different ways, like working for yourself, working on your passions. And for me, I know that it's possible because I see a lot of people doing it. And I know that I have been through a lot, and I know I have a story. I know I have so much value because I see how many people in my personal life and space ask me for certain things and rely on me for certain advice and things where I might feel a little bit like an imposter. But the truth is, I have read and done and experienced certain things in these areas where I know I can bring a lot of, like, I feel a sense of authority because I've done it, I've been through it, so I don't mind giving advice on those things. Doing it to strangers is, in a weird way, easier, but also harder. It's harder because I feel way more naked in a way and I feel vulnerable, but it's also easier because you can show up in a more real way because I don't have a tight group that is only watching me. That's like, you know, my friends and family and stuff like that who already know me, or at least know the past me, know a version of me that they see for themselves. Because at the end of the day, that's what we also have to remember, because we are on this challenge together right now where we're becoming the best version of ourselves. We're becoming our own dream woman. And that's where we have to remember that everyone in your life, and you're going to do this too with the people in your life, everyone has a version of you in their head that makes sense to them. But it's so dangerous to get too tied into that, because sometimes we can, without even knowing it, we just end up showing up the way that people expect us to, whether or not that's going to be self-sabotage for ourselves. And the one thing that you're going to have to learn on this journey of healing is setting boundaries with other people means setting boundaries with yourself. If you cannot first and foremost say, well, what I want in my love life, what I want my body to look like, what I want my income to look like means A, B, and C. It means that I have to learn about this. It means I have to show up all of these times consistently to do A, B, and C, to become that, to become her, right? And if we're going to do that, person that we want to hang out with, the friend or the toxic guy we're not supposed to be with, it's not even about just saying no to them and cutting people out of our lives. Because I think at a certain point, and I came up with this that I put on TikTok, of if you wanted to, you would. Not him, you would. And it's because if we naturally have boundaries and an innate sense of self-love and self-worth that says, I know what I want. I know what I'll tolerate because of what I want and deserve. then you don't even have to sit there and spend 3 months trying to convince a guy, trying to tell your friends who you are, because it's already it's said without being said. Like, I haven't eaten meat for many years. I don't have to continue to convince anyone that I don't want the chicken, because it's a pretty natural boundary for me. If I say that I'm going to work out, then people expect that I'm going to go work out, and they know that they shouldn't be like, well, can't we do this instead? Because they know that's not what it's like. The guy I dated, he knew he could fuck around with me because I clearly didn't know what the fuck I wanted, and I didn't have the natural boundary there because of my own issues, my trauma. And again, he was an asshole. Absolutely. And I get to be angry. But that experience, and trust me, I'm telling myself this all the time, that experience means that I'm not going to go through that again. Still going through healing and ups and downs, and sometimes I feel really sad. Like yesterday when I saw the good guy I dated is dating someone else, I definitely had a moment of like, I am just stuck and everybody else is moving forward. Nobody cares. And I don't know any of that. And I need to be on my own journey no matter what. But I still needed that kick in the ass of, I need to start moving forward. I cannot keep staying stuck in the what ifs and like one day when blah, blah, blah. Because at the end of the day, one day is today, because today is all you have. And I hate to be too corny, but it is just so true. And until you say, I need to make the most out of today, and I need to show up in whatever way I possibly can for that version of me, then you're not going to be able to break through, and you're not going to be able to create that momentum. And I think I was forced to see it so heavily this past week because I've been procrastinating a lot, and then I finally uploaded the video, and then I got a horrible flu. And then the fact that I procrastinated on writing my last exam caught up with me, because all of a sudden I had like 3 days to write it while I was extremely sick. Hi, lesson, I'll take it. But I have had so many ideas in my life where, and Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this in her book, Big Magic, but where I let the energy literally just fly out of the idea to the point where it's not there anymore. There's no magic in it. It's probably gone to someone else. I lost my chance, because sometimes you need to grab the idea and you need to then let that come through you and let it come out in that moment, and then that needs to be it, and you need to trust it. It cannot be, let me sit on it for 3 years and then look at it again and be like, it doesn't feel the same. No shit, because it's not meant to be anymore. And I think I've done that with so many things in my life, and I don't want to do it anymore. And I think if you watched my TikTok and like my podcast especially, and my videos, I think it's pretty, especially with my podcast, you can definitely tell like the journey that I've personally been on, because I'm still I'm still just a young woman. I'm still just a human being trying to figure everything out, and having gone through my own life and my own trauma and whatnot. Clearly, I have been like climaxing to the point of this moment of fuck it, of where I just say, you know what? Maybe I don't know exactly what I need to do to get to where I want to be. And maybe I truthfully don't know. Like, maybe it's not availing. Maybe I actually don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do. But maybe that is also okay. Really, just this weekend has been some of the harder days. And it's funny because sometimes the harder days come when you start doing the ish. The big change is happening by me doing this work of facing myself, of not just saying, ooh, I don't like that feeling. That makes me feel like shit about myself. Let me go date someone else. Let me go get validated. Let me go drink and party or eat emotionally, like eat my emotions, whatever it is. But instead just say, you need to breathe. You need to stay consistent with your workouts and the things that you know will help your mental health. You need to calm down, as mother would say. And so I have. And I think another sign of you healing in your life is when you, right? That's like the quintessential sense of healing is, or sign of healing is, you are no longer reacting to the triggers in the same ways. And you can still get triggered and you can still only like be a little bit better and just be on the journey. But maybe this is an up level. Maybe this is a new sign of manifestation. Maybe this is you on the next level healing. So for me, when I would normally say, I'm not going to touch this because I don't want to see it, then I would go back into coping and I would go into pretending that one day it'll all be fine and dandy. But then I'm still faced with all the feelings of, I am going to be 30 in under 2 years, and this is not where, I can't even say this is not where I thought I'd be because I never wanted the normal life, but I still thought that I would be this like badass woman, girl boss, and like traveling the world or something, and at least having like found the love of her life. Like I just thought that I would have had it all figured out by now. And it's funny because when we're like in our early 20s, I remember saying this to like this spiritual coach that I saw at the time. I told her, well, I mean, I'm going to at least give myself to 25 to figure everything out because that's like more of a serious age. And it's like, now that I'm a couple years older than that, I'm like, 25 is not a serious age at all. That is when your brain is finally like starting to be developed, but you probably haven't been through. And I'm sure that a lot of older women, or me looking back in years, would look back at me right now being like, damn, to be that naive again, to be 28 and whatnot. But I feel like I've lived many lifetimes already, but still I don't really know anything. But I know that I don't want to continue living unconsciously and not having agency and not taking my power back. And I'll let you in on a little candid moment of right before filming this. I actually felt pretty good. I was like, okay, I'm productive again. We're back in business. We're being productive this week. I got over the sickness and whatnot, and I have things I need to do after, and I'll just get it done and blah blah blah. As soon as I sat down to film, I turned on the camera, and I just wanted to see that everything was working fine. So I just did like 20 seconds, and then I look at it just to see like, is everything in frame and stuff. And this happened to me so often when I used to record music a couple of years ago, where I just had to like power through it, but it doesn't feel great. I saw every fucking flaw in myself in those 20 seconds. I was just like, wow, my makeup is not makeuping like I thought it was in real life. Or my face is literally so asymmetrical. And oh my God, I just literally spilled water right here, right before the video. God, I just need to start learning how to do A, B, and Z, and I just need to blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I've been on this consistent glow up journey ever since I was a young teenager and I was overweight, and I just, losing weight also then became, we all have to become that girl. And that's another thing of being in your late 20s, of like you're still figuring out life, but at the same time, it's like I thought I would be more secure in myself and not try to do trends that 19-year-olds are doing. So if you feel that way in any way about your life and yourself, and I know from being on TikTok that a lot of women, like there's a lot of women in like their early 30s talking about starting over and doing life in a different way. And that definitely makes me happy to see, because I think I personally need to also see, and that's why I'm also making this content, because I need to see women specifically who want more things that I know that my soul craves, instead of me sliding myself into believing that someday soon I need to stop the BS and settle down, because what good is that doing in my life if I know that has never been the truth of what my soul wants? And I think I've lived my entire life in that in-between space, and that's obviously what wasn't good for me. So the two sides were radical responsibility and taking your power back by way of not being afraid of seeing what you freaking need to change in your life. But at the same time, you need to understand that your story is your story and all you have is right now. And you need to learn how to take your power back and say, I can do this and I can change my life. And the goal of it is for me to find my purpose. It's for me to feel in alignment with my soul and what I want to do. And I am not going to be able to shame myself there. Now that I've rambled for quite a bit, the thing that I actually wanted to talk about more than anything today was Mel Robbins. Don't we just love that woman? Like, what a gift she has been. You know what's funny is the one thing that she has done that has never helped me in any way has been the 5-second rule. It's like the number one thing that she's known and famous for. Doesn't help me at all. I can say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and then just say right after. Like, it doesn't help me. But everything else she does, I'm like, queen. There's something that is so both like mom and dad about her. Like, she will tell you exactly what the fuck you need to do and shut up and just put your head down and get to work with it, because otherwise nothing is going to change. You need to take the action. But there's something about her that is so nurturing, and she really, really holds space for you when she talks. Like, when she says she cares about you, you believe her. And so maybe 2 weeks ago now, which was like what incited what I wanted to talk about today originally, before I got sick, I saw one of her videos that just punched me in the gut. Like, it punched me harder than I've ever been punched. Granted, I don't think I've ever been punched in the gut, but I can imagine it. And I just realized in this video, she was talking about how, like, when you watch this video, today is the day where you finally start to take action and you decide to do something about your dreams. In the video, it starts out with someone that she knows who was listening to another one of her episodes, and she, like, I don't know, I think she texted her or like an audio DM thing, and then essentially she was saying how, you know, now she's in, I think, her like early 50s or something, and she never wrote the book that she wanted to write. She never did anything about her dream, and she essentially just wanted to call in and say to someone else who had called in on the previous episode that I really hope that you do something about your dream and don't let this many years pass by. Okay, my camera just died, so I had to fix that. But essentially what I wanted to say about the Mel Robbins video was, again, a twofold epiphany where on one hand, it's like I've lived my entire life knowing that I need to do something else than the life I'm living. At the same time, feeling like an imposter when I do those things and not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, and therefore I live in this half in, half out, which is almost the worst space to be, because either you choose, I'm not gonna pursue my dreams, at least for, you know, for temporarily, and then I'm just gonna settle down and live a quote-unquote normal life. Yay. Or I'm going to go all in and not hide anymore, because I think my problem has been, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, but I don't want to be seen and I don't want to be heard, and I'm scared. And it's like, but the truth is, I have so many things, like there's a reason why I feel awful, sick, and haunted when I am not doing anything that I'm supposed to be doing, when I'm not creating. I'm not feeling passionate when I'm not creating, and when I'm not speaking about things and tools and all of these amazing things that I'm learning about. But I think what really, really upset me was I posted a TikTok a couple of days ago talking about health-related things and Pilates and things I want to do. And normally, like, I don't get that many views. And then suddenly you get a video that's like 200,000 views. And number one, I don't really know how to react to it, because I'm like, what the hell? But also, for some reason, that created more of a space in me where I was like, yeah, but what does it really matter? And, you know, yeah, it sent a couple of people to my YouTube channel, and great, now my first video has some views and I have a couple of subscribers, and, you know, essentially that's all I wanted, because I want to create a community, and what I want more than anything is to have this purpose where I feel like the things I've been through and the tools that I've learned throughout my life and the things that keep coming to me, I can share and they reach someone and it matters. And it's so funny, I didn't even think about that before literally just saying it. So maybe that is my purpose. I struggle with something and that I just said out loud. I need to come back to this and remember it, holy moly. But Maybe you have something similar where you keep doing things again and again and again, or you keep having things that keep coming to you, but life happens and you're scared to do it. And I think what happens with me was I posted a video, finally. I've done my podcast for a while, but I'm finally starting to like do something to get my podcast out there and be heard. Because the truth is, you could easily start a podcasting, and that's a great first step. And I continue to show up and record each week and publish. But the truth is, you might just get a listener or two if you're not telling anyone that it's there. If you're not trying to market it, you're not trying to like put it out there. If you're just putting it on Spotify like me, like it's probably not going to reach people. And I think that's another way of me protecting myself by just being half in. And the woman talking to another woman about being in her late 40s or 50s and being like, I wasted 20 years not doing this thing, and now I feel so much regret. Then I started to think about, I have just been so sad about being in my late 20s and feeling like I missed the boat. I missed out on everything that I wanted to do because I feel weird talking about the things that I want to talk about, or having to learn what I want to learn first, whether it's about more like normal things like the glow up and the that girl thing, or it's fashion and makeup, and it's my number one love of health and wellness. But then I feel like, shouldn't I be further along? But the truth is, I have lived a life consistently trying to do these things and learn these things to get to this point. And at a certain point, I have to be like, what you are right now is good enough and you're ready enough to go for it. And if I show up all in consistently, where am I going to be in 20 years? It could either be, hopefully, I'll be in my late 40s no matter what. Hopefully, I'll be alive. What is the point of me thinking that I should stop doing this now because I don't know what the end result is going to be like? And I keep looking to the past of the times that I quit and when I felt like an imposter and like I shouldn't do it, and I felt like I only had reasons not to. Okay, well, if I continue going and I say, I know I'm somehow on like at least somewhat the right path right now, that has to bring more opportunities and alignment, and that has to be able to reflect in every way of my life. And I hope that you think about it in the same way for you too. I continue to learn and talk about, is this becoming your best version of yourself? And I don't think I'm ever gonna be freed from that. And maybe it is, you're just supposed to be happy with who you are. But I just have always had this feeling of, there's another level for me. There's something I can do. There's something I'm supposed to bring out. There's a reason why I consistently have certain struggles and things that I go through. And there's a reason why I have the same passions and ideas that keep coming to me. And then I use something like, yeah, well, you've loved music your entire life. That didn't become anything. Well, maybe that was supposed to be one part of it. And maybe I'm feeling called lately to bring music back into my life for a reason. And then I start to feel like, why do you want to do that at 28? It's too late. You've missed the boat and you're not, like, you're decent. That's it. Okay, but could I maybe become more than decent? And can't you learn your entire life? Literally, I have this conversation with myself every single day, every choice of my life, everything that I every struggle, every circumstance where I feel like I'm faced with a situation that is less than desirable, where I feel disappointed or I feel unloved, unworthy, or I feel not good enough. I have this conversation with myself. And I think it's beautiful if you can have that conversation with yourself and continue to persevere, because that's when the universe is essentially seeing you conquer and it's seeing you pass the tests. And again, please keep in mind, and if there's one thing I can inspire, it would be to learn and know that you can absolutely do this at any time, at any age, and you need to stop. Hi, to me too. I need to stop also looking around as if everyone else has it figured out. The people who seem like they want to live normal lives, I see them as, wow, I wish I had that kind of peace, as if they don't have their own struggles. And As if in my real life, I'm the only person who wants to do something different, feel something different, try something different, and quote unquote be the best version of myself. And then I look online and I'm like, wow, only gorgeous people, only people without struggles. And I feel like a piece of shit. And I feel like I'm too late, and I feel fat, and I feel ugly, and I feel like, what does it even matter? Like, what does my voice matter? She just said it way better than me. I feel low. And so it just all goes back to me wanting to start a podcast because I needed content from the person, the woman who is literally in the middle of stepping into womanhood. And I think for me, it was also learning that maybe you're not resonating with the same things because you were supposed to resonate with becoming that version of you when you did. But now you're supposed to resonate with becoming the woman version of you. Like not a girl boss, but a woman boss. You're supposed to become the woman who can attract a healthy love into her life, the person you're supposed to be with. Maybe I'm supposed to teach people about healing and the things that I learned in my girlhood, whether it's something to do with your inner self or whether it's the way that I stay healthy or glowed up. Whatever it is, stop trying to make it fit into what you're seeing around you, and instead inspire by way of you still becoming the best woman that you can be, becoming your own dream woman. Because once I started to think about that instead, I started to feel way more authentically inspired, because I have tried and felt bad when I do things or I try to look certain ways that aren't resonating with me anymore, when I should be really more in my Sophia Richie era, where I'm like, I ended the situationship as hard as it was. I went through the healing. I am currently decluttering my closet because I want to learn my personal style, and I want to elevate that, and I want to feel good about that. I want to learn how to take better care of my skin. I want to be more creative with my makeup, but I also want to learn how to be able to do less and not always show up with a full face of makeup. But so it's like all of these things that I want to learn to become what feels like my dream woman. But of course, as you're doing this work of leveling up, things are going to hit you in the face of, yeah, but who do you think you are? Whether it's people around you or it's your own little devil within you, it's going to happen. For me, it just feels like this year has to be it. This year has to be it, where it's not like all the other years. The way that I want to end this on is, the vibe for the rest of my year is, hello, I'm an organized girly and I stick to my own boundaries and my own goals first and foremost. And the vibe of the year is, we're not saving for later. What do we talk about with dreams, ideas, and the magic going out of them? We're not doing that. We are this year going to believe in our dreams and in the actions that we know we need to take. And we're going to trust that if we do that consistently and we show up for ourselves and the person we want to be every single day without shame and toxic restriction and whatever. And that's why I created this program instead of it being 75 Hard, which is also a great program, but I wanted to be more feminine for us women. If we do that, we believe that the path is going to unfold for us. And at the end of the day, it's 1 year. It's 1 year. And how many years have we looked back being like, oh shit, that wasn't what I expected. Whereas we can now look at it and say, it's only 1 year. For me personally, and then in 1 year, I'm not 30 yet, but I'll probably have created such a more abundant, magical life for myself by way of me shaking things up and me saying, I'm going to go all in this year. Because I have done the same things many times. I've been half in, I've done little things here and there, and I'm very proud of myself for many things. And I believe and I know that there will be hiccups and ups and downs. And I went through things with love and needing to experience that, and going through the thing with my injury again. And there are things that will happen, but I'm going to trust that I no longer need to be the messy little girl learning lessons. I can now decide who I am, and that means for me lifting the veil and not keeping things in and staying stagnant in my own little bubble, but saying, I'm out in the world now. aligned and me not hiding the real person I am, because what the fuck good is that gonna do? I want to find great love. I'm not necessarily chasing it. I'm not searching for it hard right now at all. But I want to become the person who naturally attracts it into her life. And I'm going to believe that. And I'm also believing that I can do this. I'm going to believe that I'm supposed to do this. And I'm not going to stop. And neither are you. So that was my little spiel and ramble for today, and I feel better because I needed to even talk to myself about all of these things, because life is weird and we're all just figuring it out, and we're going through healing. And remember, we are healing to live, not living to heal, because again, we don't want to get stuck in that limbo space. Because sometimes when you become spiritual, it's also easy to become isolated. And for my girlies, the thing that I really want to end this on is what I really, really love. I love Sex in the City. I don't know about you. Always wanted to go to New York. I've always kind of wanted to be Carrie. I know she's messy, but I kind of love her. Think about it like this. When we start season 1 of Sex in the City, we see them and we're like, damn, they're so iconic. The friendships, they're so young. Carrie is in her early 30s. I'm like years behind her. And she was iconic, figuring shit out. Yeah, she was a little messy, but she was in the most iconic era of her life.